What's up, you guys? It's me, your favorite mystical person on the internet, with an unpopular opinions spiritual edition video. So I want to switch it up. I wanted to share some of my unpopular opinions about different spiritual topics across the board. And I want to give a disclaimer. Just keep in mind, this is my opinion and this is just what I think. This is what I believe. This is what I feel. You're more than welcome to comment down below and share your thoughts on the topics that are going to be shared in this video. This video is going to be all over the place and I'm going to be jumping from topic to topic. The topics will be in no order, so just flow with it. My first unpopular opinion is the earth is neither physically round or flat. It's neither. It's a frequency. And I know this has been an argument for like centuries. Being an astrologer, I understand that it's all energy. None of the planets, especially like the earth, it's not physical. It just appears that way. And this goes back to the idea of like everything is an illusion. But it also makes me think of in alchemy, like specifically the sun symbol, how it's like a dot and then like a circle around it. What it's representing is like the source and then what radiates from the source. So it makes it appear like that celestial body is round, but it's really not. My next unpopular opinion is I don't believe in the idea when you do good, you receive good. That rarely happens. What I found is that a lot of people out here be on demon time and they stay getting blessed. You know, I've grown up hearing that. And then, you know, as I've gotten older, you know, and just experiencing life, interacting with people, kind of just observing people around me, not just in my personal life, but just in the outside world, I just find like a lot of people out here be on demon time and they're getting blessings and they're not good people or they're not doing good things. So I don't really believe that when you do good, you receive good and vice versa. Like, I don't believe in that. That doesn't mean I'm saying like be out here being a menace, but it's just, I just personally believe that we need to stop rewarding bad behavior and enabling people. I think that's just kind of like ideally what we want to believe, but that's really not what's true in this world that we live in. Reversible spells do not create bad karma. It's self-defense. And it's self-defense because, first of all, it's not like you're intentionally the one that had the idea to do bad to that person. You're only returning back what they're giving you. You're returning back their energy. So that's not creating bad karma. It's self-defense and it's protection. They're the ones that's going to get bad karma because they're the ones that were intentionally trying to hurt you. You're not going to get bad karma if you're just protecting yourself and just returning the energy back to where it came from because you don't want it. It's not yours, it's theirs. In astrology, planets in domicile aren't as good as you think, and planets in detriment aren't as bad as you think. Planets in domicile, also known as being at home in a certain sign, to me, that creates a sense of laziness. Planets in detriment, also known as not being at home in a certain sign, creates like a square effect. But just like any square, it creates an opportunity for you to grow. It encourages growth. So whenever I see in like a chart where somebody has a lot of planets at home, while yes, it creates kind of like a flow effect because it's like a lot of their energies are in their comfortable places, but it does create a sense of complacency. When a person has a lot of detriment planets in their chart, this creates a person where they're always being encouraged to grow. They're always being pushed out of their comfort zone and pushed to really get creative and try different things. Why? Because their planets are not operating in its normal realm. This really creates a very unique individual, and this also creates an individual that's very wise as well, very experienced, and they're very evolved because they're forced to do that. Whenever you see detriment planets in your chart, don't take it as a bad thing. It's really not that much of a bad thing. For people who have a lot of planets at home, don't automatically take that as necessarily a good thing. Why? Because what it's showing is like this planet is very comfortable there, which creates a sense of laziness and doesn't encourage growth. That doesn't mean you can't grow, it just takes a lot for you to grow. The whole point of your astrology chart is to evolve it, not stay the same. Okay, so People with detriment planets, they tend to have a little bit more of an advantage because they're already encouraged and pushed to grow. Squares in your astrology chart are your superpower, and they're even stronger than trines. Just because you're a certain sign, that doesn't mean you automatically embody the good traits of that sign. A lot of people like to see the sun as like this very positive kind of energy, and it is. But when it comes to breaking down the chart, that's not what it's saying. The sun in the astrology chart is just highlighting themes. So when you're a certain sign, it's basically showing the themes based off of the sign that you're in. Like, say your sun sign is Aries, that doesn't automatically make you a leader. There's this kind of idea like, oh, Aries, leadership. And while, yes, Aries archetypically, it does represent that in a general sense, but really, when it comes down to a specific person, some Aries embody that more than others. There are some Aries that they're afraid of leadership. They're afraid to step into leadership. They don't have a very courageous character. So just because you're a certain sign, that doesn't mean you automatically embody the positive qualities of that sign. Which leads me into my next point. Just because you're the same sign, that doesn't mean you guys will get along or even are meant to be together. Every planet, every sign, they have different degrees. The fact that you guys were born at different times on different days, that creates a situation where your sun signs are at different degrees, and that could already in and of itself cause a clash to where it's like you're more of that sign or less of that sign than the other person, and you know that could create like a little bit of an issue. And also because you guys share the same sign, sun sign wise, you guys are too much alike. So eventually that's going to create a situation where there's conflict. For example, two Scorpios. October Scorpios are very different from November Scorpios, okay? To where it's like October Scorpios, like they're open to the intensity, but they may find November Scorpios too intense. And that could be a little too much for them, because with October Scorpios, I always feel like they have like that little bit of Libra energy. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. November Scorpios, they're pretty ruthless. I'm not gonna lie. I grew up around a lot of them, and they're pretty intense. Okay, they have a lot going on, as opposed to the October Scorpios that I've met. They're a little bit lighter, you know what I'm saying? But they still have that depth, and I do like those too. But them November Scorpios, like, yo, like, but I love all Scorpios though. And that's another unpopular opinion. Next unpopular opinion, I actually think the malefic planets are pretty cool. I actually like them, and I don't think they're that bad. I think the people that have a lot of bad things to say about them, they just don't understand them. Specifically, they may not be ruled by these planets. Like, say, like Pluto. If you're not Plutonian, you're gonna be afraid of Pluto. You're gonna think Pluto is bad. But that doesn't take away the fact that it's not easy. But once you work with the planets and you embrace them and you understand them from a different perspective, you'll start to see a lot of the benefits of malefic planets. The moon card is represented by Cancer, in my opinion. When it comes to tarot, a lot of people like to say the moon card is ruled by Pisces. I say that it's ruled by Cancer because Cancer is the ruler of the moon. Personally, for me, the card that rules Pisces is the Seven of Cups. That really is giving Pisces to me. Just like the Hierophant in tarot, it gives me more of a Sagittarius vibe than it does Taurus. And a lot of people like to say that the Hierophant is ruled by Taurus. Whenever I pull the Hierophant card, it just gives me Sagittarius energy to me. My next unpopular opinion is I don't believe that witchcraft could affect you as long as you're detached and you're not susceptible and you have strong ancestors around you. People have to understand, like, when it comes to like black magic, witchcraft and things, not everybody is susceptible to that. Like, you have to understand, like, when it comes to the spiritual realm, people have ancestors. So depending on how strong people's ancestors are and also how in tune they are with them, some people you can't do no black magic on them. Since black magic is low vibrational magic, it's dark magic, and it's usually magic used to hurt somebody or harm them or inconvenience them in some way, shape, or form. If you're a high vibrational being, that shit is not going to affect you. When you're a high vibrational being, you're very detached to where it's like low vibrational things can't affect you. Which leads me into my next point. I don't believe just because when bad things happen to you, it's witchcraft. A lot of people in the spiritual community like to believe that if something bad happens to them, it's always witchcraft. No, it's not always witchcraft. Sometimes if something doesn't go your way, and a lot of people consider that as bad or whatever, even if you are going through like a quote unquote bad situation, that's not always some sort of external force trying to ruin your life. We're spiritual beings that came here to learn lessons, evolve, and that comes with a lot of challenges. Okay, not everything is meant to be easy breezy all the time. When bad things happen to you, or you go through a period that feels bad or that nothing's going well for you, that's a period where you're being put under pressure to evolve. Okay, you're learning a big lesson. So try to look at it that way sometimes. You'll know if something's witchcraft. But a lot of the times, if something is not going your way or life is just not treating you well, it's not always that somebody's trying to do something against you. This unpopular opinion can maybe ruffle some feathers of people who are watching that pass by my video, but I'm gonna just say it anyways. Organized religion does not allow you to truly connect with God, and it's a form of slavery. That's just my opinion. I found being on my own personal spiritual path that's allowed me to connect with God more so than going to church and being part of an organized religion. That is just my personal experience. I personally feel like the Bible, it's a book that you could decode, and there are like hidden secrets in there, but it's not a book that you should just follow like that. And I also don't feel like you should be having to go somewhere and rely on somebody to help you connect with God. You could definitely do that on your own. So a lot of religious people need to stop demonizing people who are on the metaphysical spiritual journey. If I want to fucking work with my crystals, or I want to talk to the stars, or whatever the fuck I want to do, don't demonize me for it, because that is my way of connecting with God. And that's how I feel in tune with source, universe, whatever you want to call it. I don't think anything is wrong with religion in a general sense. Do whatever you feel is best for you and what feels true to you. That's just personally me. That doesn't work for me. Okay? And religious people just need to learn how to respect other people's way of connecting to God. There's no wrong way. Okay? If you don't want somebody judging what y'all are doing, don't judge what we're doing. Next unpopular opinion. Capricorn, Saturnian energy is not the father figure. Okay? It only shows themes of authority. The sun is the original father and the moon is the original mother. And I feel the same way about the 4th and the 10th house axis. A lot of people like to say the 4th house rules like your maternal side and the 10th house is like your paternal. Those could kind of be interchangeable in the sense of like, it just depends on who your dominant figure was. The 4th house just indicates like who was the most dominant, nurturing maternal figure. And sometimes your maternal figure, it may not even be your mother. And the same thing for the 10th house. They like to say the 10th house is associated with your father figure, but really it's the most dominant authoritarian that was in your life. And sometimes that could be your mother. It might not be your father. Your astrology chart is meant to be evolved and not used to flex or make excuses for your bad behavior. A lot of people in the spiritual community, and I feel like we're all kind of guilty of this, where we kind of flex our chart and just be like, oh, like I do this because whatever placement that you have in your chart. We have to kind of be careful sometimes with our astrology chart and realize, while yes, we may have these energies, but these energies are meant to be evolved. We're not just meant to just succumb to the energies. So we're meant to progress. This is why we have a progress chart in astrology. You know, a lot of people like to kind of make excuses for their behavior due to certain things in their chart. And no, it's not because of your chart why you have narcissistic behavior or whatever issue that you got going on. Like, no, it's a personal problem within yourself that you need to do some shadow work, you need to do some child regression to kind of figure out what your issue is. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, not just utilize your astrology chart and go say, well, because I have so-and-so, this is why I'm like this, and there's no sort of like growth or change. No. And I also say this because to a lot of people, because people do this, they take astrology as a joke, and y'all be making astrologers out here looking crazy, but it's just like, no, stop utilizing astrology to avoid improving yourself, fixing yourself, bettering yourself, healing yourself. Astrology is only showing you what you have, what energy is going on, but astrology is a tool. You got to come back to self, and with what you research, what you study, how do you apply that to yourself to help you? Astrology is there to help you. This next one is actually going to be very interesting. Pisces is the first and the last sign. I say it's the first because Pisces is originally ruled by the 12th house. The 12th house indicates like your past life, like your most recent past life, like where you're coming from. And it also represents your experience in the womb space. This is why the first house comes after the 12th house. Aries, first house energy. This area shows like your experience when you were born and also like your early childhood years. This is why I believe that Pisces is the first, but it's also the last because Pisces also shows the end of your life too. It's the ending. Pisces rules endings. So 12th house has to do with like ending. So it shows both where you're coming from, like your past and what you're about to incarnate into, but also it shows like that closure as well. So Pisces is both. And this leads me into my next unpopular opinion. I believe that Jesus was a Pisces and not a Capricorn. Like, what Capricorn do you know is like this gentle, soft, all-loving, self-sacrificing kind of person. And I'm not saying that Capricorns don't have the ability to do that, especially depending on like, if you're a Capricorn and you're like this, it really just depends on what else is in your chart. But archetypically, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn has to do with hardship, strict, authority and all of this stuff. Like, that's not Pisces, okay? How they describe Jesus in the Bible is giving Pisces. My next unpopular opinion is the full moon doesn't only have to be utilized to release only bad things. A lot of spiritualists like to make it seem like, oh, it's the full moon, so it's time to release what's not serving you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, while yes, the full moon is a perfect time to do that, but that's not the only thing you could utilize the full moon for, okay? Like, you could utilize the full moon to put out things that you do want. Good things. Like, the full moon is just there to help you release something. Don't let anybody tell you like you can't do candles on a full moon. You could do your candles whenever you feel like doing it. If you feel called to do a candle on a full moon, do that. And I know a lot of people like say, like, especially on like a full moon eclipse, if you feel called to do some sort of like candle work on a full moon eclipse, then you do what you feel is right to you. You use your intuition. You talk to your spirit guides and you check in with them. Full moons, especially like full moon eclipses, that's a time where there's a lot of energy. So whatever it is that you are doing, it's going to be super strong. So do keep that in mind too. The death card in tarot is one of the best cards out of all the cards in tarot. For me, being a Plutonian, I just have an utmost respect for the concept of death and transformation. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's a beautiful thing. And I understand why a lot of people like to see the death card as like this really bad card or this really scary card. It's representing transformation. Things are changing. And I always see that as a good thing. Change is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. Is it always going to be easy? No. When you're a Plutonian specifically, you kind of just will sense when things are getting ready to change so you could ride that wave. So learning how to ride the wave of change and just the flow of life, because that is life. This is just a cycle of life. Things are born and things die. The idea of Delulu is the Solulu only works if you have action behind it. A lot of these little gurus out here on the internet got y'all fucked up. They just think y'all about to be out here just thinking what it is that you want or just speaking it into existence. Whatever the case may be, they're not stressing the importance of action. You have to align yourself. Even if you do 1 or 2 steps to what it is that you want, you're aligning yourself, and you just keep following the steps. Just to just think things or just speak it into existence, it's not enough, and that's gonna make you look crazy. There's nothing wrong with being delusional in a good way. You know, we all have visions, we all have dreams, okay? We all have these big wishes that we want to come to fruition, okay? And you deserve that, and that will happen, but you also have to get up and really take the steps towards what it is that you want. It's not just going to fall into your lap. And even if it does just fall into your lap, you still have to actively connect with it. Don't let people out here having you fucked up and looking crazy and actually delusional in a bad way. You have to be delusional in a good way. This makes me think of like something that my friend told me. He was like, to chase after your dreams, you have to be crazy. You have to be delusional. He did stress the importance of chasing. Chasing is an action. You have to take action behind your delulu in order for it to not be a delulu, okay? And I understand what these people are also saying, like you kind of have to make yourself believe in the thing, which is fine, but again, with a lot of these videos on the internet, they're not also stressing the importance of you have to take action as well. The belief is just as important as the action. And that is all I have for this unpopular opinions video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Share your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I want to hear all about what you thought of this video and the topics that I shared. Please like and subscribe. Check out my website, Cosmic Star Astrology. Follow me on Instagram, Cosmic Star Astrology, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.